Just mic'd up with Mikie, Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boy.
He tried to jump up, but he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground, I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Ochenko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad Jones.
6 minutes.
For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ochenko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues. I think she was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for
Good
the
show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle?
My dad tell you about it.
The SEC is God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should all
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Wednesday, December 11th. We have a big show for you today. Obviously, a lot of conversation to be had around the sports world. LSU is preparing for the Texas Bowl.
Toilet bowl.
The Toilet Bowl. On New Year's Eve in NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. They are preparing. Obviously, they are also preparing to add to their recruiting class in the transfer portal. A lot of names have left. According to Brian Kelly, a lot of names that they expected to leave, a few names that don't really make a lot of sense. You would imagine they try to work those guys back into LSU, but they're cooking the portal. The portal is cooking, and they're working that. They're mixing it up. They're chefing it up in the kitchen, trying to figure out
Chef Kelly.
Trying to figure out, listen, I'm bringing the food analogies because it's restaurant week, and Brian Kelly wanted you to know all the restaurants that he has attended with recruits and transfer portal prospects here in Baton Rouge. A lot have been on campus. A lot are going to be on campus. The biggest news of all does not come out of the portal. It comes from one and only Nuss sends out a 1.5-minute video announcing that he is returning to LSU. I think that is huge on multiple fronts. Obviously, he was one of the top quarterbacks in the country this year in his first year starting. Now you get him for year 2 for a school that he really enjoys being at and loves. And number 2, all those wide receivers and transfer portal people that you think that are looking for a place to go, now you know you have your quarterback and you have a veteran quarterback who has the ability to get you the ball anytime in any part of the field. I think that's beneficial for all of these wide receivers coming in, even the defensive guys coming in, because now with a quarterback like that, you have a chance to win games and potentially make a run at a national championship game. Obviously, they have a lot of work to do. They have a lot of moves to be made. I think you're going to start seeing some of those dominoes fall here pretty soon with the announcement of Nusmeier coming back. Staying in the college football world, Bill Belichick.
Wow.
6-time Super Bowl champion head coach. I think he has more Super Bowls than that, but I think he's 6 times as a head coach.
8 times overall.
8 times overall. 13 wins away from being the all-time winningest coach in the NFL football history. Has decided to hang up the professional cleats and go to the minor leagues of the NFL, which is also paying you almost as good as the NFL, and that is college football. He is now is expected to be named the new head coach for the North Carolina Tar Heels. They fire Mac Brown, who is 6 months. They're 6 months apart in age, right? So you fire one old guy to hire another old guy. Old guy is younger though. This is a younger old guy because his girlfriend's 24. She's keeping him really young.
Is that real?
And
is that really a real thing? Is she really 24?
I mean, she's 20 something.
Wishing I was 21.
She's somewhere in her 20s, right? And so
Cody Smith.
apparently is I know.
Well, Walker Howard better learn.
Hey, he's going back to Lafayette.
Go to
The
the
Raging Cajuns.
pub keg.
No,
What is it?
both-
The
they're all closed.
Crooked Nickel?
They're all closed. They're all crooked.
Nickel.
Wow, what a reference. That didn't last long.
No, but it was fire when it was there.
And,
Nighttown's still kicking.
Mardi Gras was a good move for the Crooked Nickel. Crooked Nickel was thriving during Mardi Gras. Bill Belichick, next head coach. Apparently, I think that he made a deal with North Carolina that he has these huge plans for them, but his son is going to be the head coach in waiting is what the rumor was. Is that true? Who knows? But that is happening in the college football world. Moving to the NFL world, Saints signed Ben DiNucci. Ben DiNucci as the backup / starter potentially. Moving forward with Derek Carr's health up in the air for the rest of the season. We shall see what happens with that. Believe it or not, the Saints are not technically out of it. They're almost out of it because if the Bucs keep winning, I think they're done. The Falcons seem to keep going backwards. They're going the opposite direction. So they may not be the last team, the second to last team in the division. They may end up being second in the division. Who knows? We shall see. But those are the Heineken headlines. Let's get to the conversation about LSU and the portal and the big news of the day and Nusmeier coming back to school. How are we feeling about it? We feel a lot more confident going into the portal. Do we feel like this was expected, unexpected? How are you feeling, Lloyd?
I feel like there was certainly an avenue in which he didn't come back because it made sense, right? Like there's a lot of unknowns around LSU, but maybe his commitment back to LSU answers some of those, where you can go and get people to help you with the offensive line, to help you at wide receiver, because now you have the one thing that people were probably a little bit concerned about of LSU not being a power player, and then felt like it was kind of written in the tea leaves a little bit. You weren't in on any of the quarterbacks. You have one that's a high school commitment that you're trying to secure, the North Carolina guy, but now you don't.
It seems like he's probably going to end up.
Yeah,
in
I feel
North
like
Carolina,
I feel like
Ben DiNucci,
yeah, I feel like Big
Bill
Belichick and his son Steve are probably all in on
big cocaine.
all
Steve.
yes, all in on probably getting him to get a 400-page manifesto he's probably mentioned once. But from the
Stallions?
the greats learn from the greats.
Listen, the great Connor Stein's 400-page manifesto. Luigi Mangione 2-page manifesto.
It wasn't done yet. McDonald's only has such Wi-Fi
Yeah.
that you can get only
Yeah.
so much done.
Anyway, go ahead.
He's a patsy. It's not him.
Yeah, I don't think
But for Garrett Nussmeier, not a patsy, very committed to the craft
Very
and to
committed.
the program.
Yep.
And I think that's where the biggest takeaway of. I've heard some things about NIL and like him getting a bag, and he was like this was like that he was one of the lower paid players in NIL. I don't think
believe
that's
that.
what he's interested in.
Me too. That he's been vocal about that. That he's not here for the NIL stuff. He's here about development because he loves LSU. Yeah, of course he wants to probably pay a little bit, but it's not the money's not driving his decision. I don't believe.
I don't believe either. And well, you do have to do a make good and have to cover up for what he would make in the NFL to a sense. But I don't think it was absolutely have to pay everything you can to be able to retain him. I think God forbid somebody loves the fucking school. Like, maybe he wants to be at LSU and wants to see this thing through. You stayed for 4 years, stay for 5.
Right.
Like, I think this is a great opportunity for him. And while there's questions around it with the offensive line and with receivers and with the offensive coordinator, but Michigan hired an offensive coordinator. So you don't really have to – maybe Joe Sloan comes back. Those are all questions that he probably had in mind and have been answered for him.
Yeah. No, I think –
And God.
Yeah, he prayed on it for sure.
Definitely.
I think. What's your feelings on it?
I mean, I'm shocked that we're going to sit here and those are the only things we're going to mention.
Well, I wasn't done.
And we're not going to mention that he has a goddamn dad
Right.
Yeah, well,
who's a
I said that
quarterback
already. I
coach.
said that before.
I mean, but like we're sitting here like not mentioning it like as if that probably wasn't a huge part of the process. Like his dad probably told him straight up, hey, you need a little more. Just a little more seasoning. You ain't put enough Tonys in there. Get your ass back in the lab.
That roux ain't dark yet.
Go ahead, get you 12 and more, and then we'll see you next year. Like I feel like that had to do a lot with what he was doing because if he left this year, he would have been in a good situation. He's got a potential to put himself in a great and much more advantageous situation if he stays and plays well next year.
He has a potential. I don't know who's going to come back or not go in the draft, but he has a potential to go into the draft next year as the most experienced, one of the most talented quarterbacks in the draft this year with the most experience next year, right? Arch Manning's in the draft. He's not going to have as much experience. All the other quarterbacks that you listed on Monday that were like projected to go in the draft for this year, a lot of them haven't played or haven't played a lot
for 2026.
For 2026 draft, right? So for the next year's draft, a lot of those guys have not played. So he has the ability to put himself even higher, rated higher than he is now, which he's rated pretty high as a quarterback. Next year he has an opportunity to be the number 1 quarterback taken based off of how he can perform and having the 2 years of experience and the starts of 25, 26 starts as a starting quarterback.
Where do you put the credence on year 1 to year 2 under this staff as opposed to the previous? Obviously, everybody's been doing Burrow year 1, year 2. Jayden Daniels year 1, year 2.
I think it's not about this staff or that staff. That's
experience thing.
Yeah. No. It's literally whatever system you are in. Like it's
Right.
one thing to kind of get in there and be your first year on the go and actually run. It's another thing to do it second year around at full speed in real game situations. I think that's anywhere and everywhere is getting to be in the same system and actually performing in the same system for more than 1 year. That is usually when you see a big jump. And that's why you saw the big jumps. It's not necessarily just because of the system that it was or who the coach was and stuff. That's pretty much like across the board. You usually see that jump in the second year.
Yeah, and I think that you saw the offense. You saw him have some moments this year where maybe they weren't his best moments, but I think at the end of the year you saw him improve as a quarterback. I think you saw him understanding how to progress through his reads. I think he understood how to run the offense the way they wanted to run. I think Joe Sloan understood how to call, or Joe Sloan / Brian Kelly understood
Cortez Hankton
towards the end / Cortez Hankton at the end of the year. How do we call the plays? How do we get a little bit more in rhythm with Nusmeier and the things that we want him to do and the things that he's good at? And another year of that, another offseason of that, I think is going to bode.
I mean, because we can.
Extremely
If I just
well.
get off of just the LSU right now, just go ahead and think back 3 years. Caleb Williams was pretty damn good at Oklahoma, but year 2 in the system, he won a Heisman.
Right.
That was year 1 at a new school, but that was year 2 in that same system with the same coach.
in like game 6 he came in.
So you got to think of it that way. Like those things, it's a real thing like that.
Yeah.
Year 2 actually performing in that system becomes very different because you're just that much more comfortable with how things are, and you see it and you play it quicker. You react quicker. You start thinking less. It's all part of it.
And
I was just going to say, because people are making this comparison, like I said, to Burrow and Daniels.
easy comparison.
Right. And it's a year 1, year 2 thing, but I think he was so much more solid in his year 1 that you can expect a much more monumental leap than what the other two made.
Listen, and
let
look,
me read the stat. Let me just read.
No
let
doubt.
me
I
read
know
all.
exactly what you're saying. I'm gonna compound on that.
So year 1 for Burrow, 57% completion percentage, 2,800 yards, 16 touchdowns. Year 2, 76% completion percentage, 5,671 yards, 60 touchdowns. Right?
Okay.
Daniels, year 1, 68% completion percentage, 2,900 yards, 17 touchdowns. Year 2, 72% completion percentage, 3,800 yards, 40 touchdowns. Nuss in year 1, 63% completion percentage, 3,700 yards, 26 touchdowns.
Right. So,
If you're expecting him to double that, he's not.
right. Joe Burrow's comparisons are different than Jayden Daniels because that was two separate systems, right?
Two separate skill sets.
In two separate offenses were completely different, right? The way they ran the offense in 2019 was not the same they ran the offense in 18, right? Brought in Joe Brady, had a whole different scheme, but Joe Burrow did get better because he started for a full year, understood the speed of the game a little bit better. Then Jaden Daniels goes on there. What?
Go ahead.
Oh, Jaden Daniels' year, yes, first year in the system, second year system, obviously significantly better. I think, to your point, you can expect an upgrade, you can expect improvement, but to expect him to throw 60 touchdowns, I don't think that's right because you also don't have Jamar Chase.
There it
I was
is.
getting there.
I was about to say that. I mean,
I was getting there.
Let's go ahead and not forget. There's four other reasons as to
Right.
why that
I was
jump
getting there.
happened that way.
No
Malik
doubt.
Davis,
You had
Brian Thomas.
It was
Jamar
that-
Chase. You had
For sure.
Jordan Jefferson, Justin Jefferson. You had Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson.
Did I say
you had
Jordan?
Brian Thomas Jr. You had Malik Neighbors. Those are four pretty good
Right.
reasons too as to why those jumps
Right,
happened.
4 first-round wide receivers. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily have that. You don't have that.
We don't know.
We don't know if
But
we
there's a
don't know.
lot. Listen, I don't know. Who knows what
But-
Aaron Anderson's going to turn? I don't
Right.
know. But all I know is before those year twos, we didn't know that we
Right.
had them dudes that's what they were going to turn into.
Right.
And they did, and they've proven to be exactly that since they've gotten into the league.
But what you're going to get is you're going to get the game. The game's going to slow down even more than it did this year for him because he had a whole year under his belt. He's going to understand where he needs to go and what he needs to do in the system a little bit better. And so if he goes out there and he says, hey, I had a 63% completion percentage, next year I'm completing at a 70% clip and I'm throwing for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, that's an improvement.
It turns into, this is what starts
And less
happening.
interceptions.
It starts turning into, you take a little more ownership to what's going on. And what I mean by that is 2 games in, when you start seeing these coverages and they're trying to do this and they're trying to do that, and you're on the headset and the timeout and coach is in the box saying, hey, what do you think about this play? We should run this. Instead of answering and saying, yeah, I think that one's good, the timeout happens, you go into me like, hey, we're running this because this is going to work. Like, that's the things you start seeing and you start reacting to and you start feeling. There's a little more feel for everything that's going on and you start taking more ownership to what's going on. Those kind of things start happening in year 2.
Yeah.
And I think some of the ownership has already happened. Like, you've seen him have to, and we've talked about this before, but with the offensive line and a redshirt freshman center, and then you insert Paul Mubenga, another redshirt freshman guard, like, he had to do all the protection calls. He had to do all of the side adjustments for the wide receivers, and then he also was getting a play call in his ear until 15 seconds, and he had to do that at a lightning fast
For the
pace
first time ever, too.
For the
Right.
first time
Yeah,
ever
right.
on the road.
Somebody in
And
your
that's
ear
when
the
he
first time
struggled.
ever in his life.
Which is why he's such a highly coveted quarterback prospect, is because he can do all of that.
Yeah, because who's his dad again?
Yeah, he's a pretty good offensive coordinator.
He had 20 years in the NFL.
Been in the NFL for a long time. Yeah. Was also a quarterback.
Yeah,
So-
and a quarterback's coach. So
Yeah.
I don't think Thanksgiving is as much fun for everybody else.
They
His
don't
little-
watch
and then his little
Thanksgiving
brother's
football.
coming. His little brother's going to be at LSU.
Nephew.
Apparently his little brother's really good.
Well, it's same pedigree.
He can run, though. They say he's a little bit more athletic, is what the
That's usually how it happens.
scouting report says. I don't know.
I don't want to get beat up by the older brother. I got to get quick.
You're right. But I think this him coming back, right? Him announcing right now, I think is important, and the timing of it is important because the portal is cooking right now, and there's a lot of guys that are trying to make their decision, and you would imagine that these wide receivers want to make their decision somewhat early so they can get in the system and they can start kind of building a rapport with their quarterbacks and understanding what they needed to do to be the guy they want to be for the next year. So him announcing now puts LSU in a situation where they are a more attractive destination for some of these transfer wide receivers. And there's a lot in the portal, right? We talked about Micah Hudson from Texas Tech. Talked about the wide receiver from Kentucky. Nick Anderson, the wide receiver from Oklahoma, is in the portal. I think all 3 wide receivers from USC are going to be put in the portal, which before the year they were talking about those 3 being the top receiving core in the country. That obviously didn't live up to expectations, but the talent is there.
Yeah.
So to be able to know who your quarterback is and it being an experienced quarterback that has the arm to get you the ball anywhere on the field, I think that's enticing for these guys. Also with the tight end position, right? You have a bunch of tight ends that you're going to have to go and replace, but you also have a bunch of really talented tight ends in the portal. And one of those guys is Luke Haas from Arkansas.
Well, firstly, you lost Pimpton.
Pimpton's gone. Pimpton is gone. which a lot of people were upset about that. I don't.
It's not that I'm not upset. It's just it made sense.
I understand why he left. You have basically him. It's him or Trey Green. You pick one or the other. They're basically the same type of player. I think Trey Green has more upside. I think you saw that by the playing time throughout the course of the year. And neither one of those, as Jared said, were great in the blocking.
Well, they're just both young. I mean, they both had a ways to go when it comes to actually putting that hand in the
little
dirt.
light in the ass.
Yeah, a little light in the cakes. Had to put that hand in the dirt. Had to put that hand in the dirt and start playing. Like it's a different game. It's a different size. So I think they both have a ways to go when it comes to that. And if you're bringing yourself to next year to be reliant on those two being your inline tight ends, it would be tough. It would be a huge jump for them to be able to kind of do what Mason Taylor was able to do for you from day one when he stepped on campus.
And that's a lot to ask of J.D. LaFleur to do because it's hard to get struck by lightning twice.
Right.
By all intents and purposes, J.D. LaFleur has the makeup to do it. He's 6'5", 240.
Also
his dad
great
played
pedigree.
here. Yeah, exactly. Nepo U. That's what LSU was becoming. You got
NFL
3
tight
brothers
end.
on the same team. You have Nussmeier's brother trying to come to LSU, even though he's in the same class as Elijah Haven. We'll see, because I think he'll probably reclassify. But why would you come here if he's going to come here? He's probably going. We'll see what LSU has to do to be able to keep him. But with all of that said, LSU still doesn't have one signed. You have the Arkansas tight end that was on campus, came in last night and stayed all day today, and that would probably be your biggest need maybe at this point, now that you have a quarterback sewn up, is to be able to get a tight end that can help you in this same class, and maybe this Nuss commitment helps.
I agree.
I don't know how it couldn't.
Right, I agree. I mean, I think that this helps, and this not even count. Don't even take the offense out of it. I think this helps
Solidify the team. Yeah,
I think this helps any guy who wants to come to LSU.
Just think about it. If you're looking at LSU, chances are you're probably looking at, and you want it to be, one, if you're transferring and or if you're coming as a recruit, you're looking at LSU because you want to be developed to be able to get to the next level, but you're also looking at a chance to compete for what?
National championships.
So when I'm looking at this school to be able to compete for a championship, I probably need a what? A quarterback. Well, if you don't have one, how can I sit here and say and take you serious, especially knowing the kind of competition you're going to play in the conference that you're playing in? So when you bring one back, it helps the entire roster in terms of how am I going to be able to recruit this roster if I don't have a quarterback? Well, I got one now, and you know he's good. Helps a lot. It helps everywhere.
Especially, and we talked about, like, obviously Pimpton hitting the portal, and I can't imagine that he wasn't a little bit shaken by the fact that LSU is courting up to 3 tight ends to be able to probably land more than one. I think they're trying to get 2. Northwestern Missouri State tight end Zach Atkins, used primarily as a blocking tight end, which LSU could use. 12 catches for 81 yards in 8 games in 2023, 18 for 179 and 3 touchdowns in 2024. Oklahoma tight end Bauer Sharp, who's very interesting as he was their leading pass catcher because they had 6 wide receivers sit out, so he became very much a primary weapon. But prior to playing for Oklahoma, he was at Southeastern Louisiana as a quarterback, but made the move to tight end ahead of the 2022 season. 11 games during the 2023 season, 25 passes for 133 and 5 touchdowns, which landed him on Oklahoma's roster. And now he has, in his final year of eligibility, entered the portal again. Like that, it seems like a Bauer Sharp and possibly a Luke Haas.
Is it Haas or Haas?
Haas, probably.
Haas, probably. That sounds like it's spelled Haas. Haas.
This is how they do the 3.
So they're releasing the October schedule for at least the month. I guess the schedule release is going on right now for LSU. First month, September schedule. You want to hear it?
Let's go. This is breaking news.
This is breaking news. August 30th at Clemson. Okay. September 6th, you're at home
They're not out of it yet.
What?
They're not getting out of it yet.
They're I think it's official.
Yeah,
I think it's official.
Yeah.
I think it's over now. I don't think they can get out of it anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know if they
COVID.
can. September 6th at home against La Tech. September 13th at home against Florida. So you have Florida early in the year.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's early.
Yeah.
That's a big game. It's going to be a pretty good team at that point, too.
September 20th, home against Southeastern.
You're looking 1 and 2 right in the face.
September 27th at Ole Miss. Okay?
Jackson Dart's gone.
So, interesting first month of the year. The whole defensive line's gone, too.
They're going to be power players in the portal.
No doubt. Of course. Always going to be. So, those are the first 5 games of the season. Then you go to the October part of the schedule. October 4th, bye. October 11th at home against South Carolina, which is going to be – South Carolina's going to be a top 10 team to start the season.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one.
October 18th at Vandy. October 25th at home against A&M. So that's the first 2 months of the season.
That's all they have
so far. Yeah. That's going to be a doozy. I mean,
there's a lot of big games kind of
you got
squished
4
together
games.
in there.
You got four really big games. South Carolina, A&M, Clemson, Florida. Obviously, Vandy had a really good year. Can they do it 2 years in a row?
Is Pavia back next year?
I think he's trying to. I think he's having some difficulties getting an extra year of eligibility.
Yeah.
But those take them out. They're pretty good. And La Tech's always pretty solid. I'm not saying La Tech's going to upset LSU, but like that early in the season after a game at Clemson, you know what I mean? Going to be a little tricky. But obviously it's La Tech. You'd imagine that
UL would love that matchup.
Well, what if UL came in there with Walker Howard as a quarterback?
Have you seen this Discord between one Preston guy and all of the ULL fan base?
I've not seen it.
It is. Maybe we'll bring it up later.
Okay.
Oof.
Is it not good?
It's just a whole lot of back and forth about. I mean, how many times can we cross this bridge? Literally.
It's just, they got to do what they got to do. You know what I mean? Anyway, I don't mean to derail us from the conversation.
Oh, yeah, you can't upset your contingency.
No. I think LSU and UL can coexist. We've talked about
I
this.
agree.
We've talked about this ad nauseum. Like, LSU and UL can 100% coexist. They're not in the same conference. They don't compete against each other. Like, if they coexist, then UL could be the second best school in Louisiana, and LSU could be the state school. Like, that's just the way it is, right? It's not like we're making fun of UL. UL has had very successful seasons recently, and good for them.
But did he just say they could coexist? Name me one state where the schools in the state coexist like that, at that kind of a level.
Well, big school and low school. It's not the same. Like Auburn and Alabama, they can't compare them because they're the same conference, they're the same size types of schools. UL and LSU are not the same. Like, they're just not.
No reason to root against each other.
No reason. That's my point. There's no reason to root against each other at all. You're never gonna cross. You're not unless you play.
Streams.
You're not crossing paths at all. Like, LSU being good is not going to keep UL out of the playoffs. UL being good is not going to keep LSU out of the playoffs. Well, maybe. Actually, that would probably could happen, potentially, if UL is the group of 5 team that gets in. But you can still coexist, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree more.
As a fan base or as a team?
Both.
Coach, let's be real.
Both.
What are they competing on?
Yeah, baseball maybe.
No,
But not even then.
The competition. I mean, let's be honest. Okay, let's call a spade a spade. If I'm in high school and I start getting all these letters, and not one of them damn letters is flooding from LSU, you better be goddamn right. I got LSU marked down on my schedule we get a chance to play them.
That's the players.
I just said. Do you mean as a fan base or do you mean as a team? You said both. I go. There's no way the players would ever say let's coexist.
The same thing happens to the fan base.
That's my point. That's why I'm like, I don't think it would never happen that way.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why I don't think it would never happen that way.
Right, but I think that's as a fan base.
I think that's easy to look at it from the LSU viewpoint. I don't think that ever would happen if you take off those goggles and you put yourself in those shoes. They don't.
Well, I've talked to a lot of UL fans that think the same way. It's just the ones that are loud about it are the ones that are in denial about kind of where they're at and don't like LSU.
Well, they didn't get in.
Yes.
So it happens in that way.
But
that's what I'm saying. They didn't get that letter.
I've talked to a lot of UL fans that are like, I'm both fans.
They got existed. I went to
UL, but I love LSU. Right, there's a ton of those guys. I didn't want to leave Lafayette, but I love LSU.
See, they got accepted. They just didn't want to leave. That's all.
I'm staying home. Walker Howard.
Coexist.
Maybe Walker Howard bridges the gap.
Maybe he is. Maybe he does it.
Savior.
I think that might burn it down more if that ever happened.
Bowl game.
But I mean, that's what I've always said. I was like, it's just not. They just don't compete anything. It just doesn't. Nothing that they do is like it doesn't affect each other. You both can be good.
Should be happy together.
Both should be good. Here's the deal: if the better LSU gets,
tie
the
the
better you
flags
get,
together.
the better you get, and the better LSU gets, and you build your program and you keep sending guys to the NFL like you started doing when Billy was there. The guys that don't play at LSU are now going to be more prone to maybe transferring over to you, because you're good. You're putting guys in the NFL. I don't have to travel. I'm from Louisiana. I don't have to travel a lot, so let me go play at a school that is going to be able to be in bowl games and potentially compete now for the 12-team playoff, and I also can make it to the NFL.
Perfect harmony.
That would be ideal. And that was going. It was trending that way. It still may be trending. I don't know what their NFL prospects look like on their team, but we shall see.
I think it's a pipe dream.
Bloods and Crips, let's tie that flag and
I think
hold
it's a
hands.
pipe dream.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think that it's something that
It might be your undertaking, dude.
no, I ain't doing
You're
that.
the one.
You're the bridge for
I
the
am
gap.
I am no bridge for the gap.
You can bridge the bridge.
I don't think so.
Speaking
all right.
of bridging the bridge,
Yes.
where do you think LSU goes next in terms of the portal after?
Who do I think the dominoes are going to fall?
Yeah.
I think two of them.
Do you think there's anybody first before that? You saw the PJ Woodland scare
Oh, yeah, that was the other thing.
in the portal.
Portal's a
which-
wild thing right now.
Yes.
Yes.
Pump fakes in the portal.
A lot of pump fakes. Or people trying to be first. If you're not first, you're last. They're trying to be first on the announcement and jump the gun a little bit. And then they have to retract. But
Well,
there's no penalty for that anymore.
It's a
No,
wild-
but which is crazy
that's
because
wild people do that.
Yeah.
it's crazy because it's people that are like nationally that are jumping the gun on these
Right.
things. Where that from one website to another, I'm not going to say any names, but it happens, and then other people run with it because you're a trusted source, and now that it becomes unfounded. But this has also happened in the case of LSU already this year with Demarion Johnson, who was, I'm not in the portal. Next day, I'm in the portal.
In the portal. Right.
But
I'm going to announce I'm in the portal. You're not going to announce I'm in the portal. That's why Tom Brady came back. You're not going to announce when I retire.
oh, maybe you
I'm
spook
gonna
him back
announce-
to the school.
I'm going to announce when I'm retire.
So maybe the announcement actually helped LSU to get him back.
But then he left.
No, but in the case of PJ Woodland.
Oh, PJ, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
But big get back. For now.
What?
Big
Oh,
get
big
back.
get back, PJ Woodland. Yes, because that's obvious. You're trying to rebuild that
Needed
depth
him.
in the secondary, and you want to build that reputation back. You have recruits coming in, but you have to build it with some guys that are already there. It
You
can't
need some
be-
competition in that.
Exactly.
You definitely do.
exactly. But as far as dominoes to fall, I think that the receiver from Kentucky and the cornerback from Florida, I think are going to be the next two guys you hear commit. I would imagine. Those are just the loudest rumors that are out there.
And certainly a tight end at some point.
And certain tight. Look, I hope you hear the kid from Arkansas, the Haas kid, decides to commit soon. And I would love to see one of the couple guys that Brian Kelly mentioned. He didn't say the name. But there's two guys apparently in the portal from LSU that he would like to try to get back. I don't know who those two guys are, but I guess you can make it.
I can imagine.
Or that's how you interpreted that he would like to give.
Yeah, pretty much said it. He said there's 15 guys in the portal. Out of those 13, out of those 15, there's about 13 that we want to help get to other programs, and there's a couple guys that didn't really make a lot of sense, and we're trying to re-recruit some of these guys that are in the portal. That's how I interpret it. Yeah.
Because also Suggs at the portal.
Suggs at the portal today too, so I think that would be one that he probably would want back, and maybe C.J. Daniels.
That's definitely one.
Yes. So I think
Gotta
those
imagine that's one you want.
I think those would be the two.
Especially with the names that we've heard they've been linked to at the receiver position in the portal. They don't do what he does. So I would imagine that's one that you're trying to reel back in, especially knowing that you got your quarterback back for another year.
And just for some portal tidying up, this is all per Shea Dixon, tight end Luke Haas in Baton Rouge on Tuesday, spending all day here on Wednesday, which is today. Kentucky receiver Barrion Brown expected LSU on Thursday. His process as far as visits has been a little fluid. Buzz still favors Tigers with Ole Miss and Texas A&M and a couple under contenders keeping an eye on him. Former Purdue edge rusher Will Helt will arrive on Tigers campus Wednesday night, so that will be today or tonight. And he heads to Texas A&M this weekend. LSU will have former Oklahoma receiver commit Nick Anderson on campus, former 5-star, on Sunday. He'll be fresh off a trip to College Station, number 8 player in the portal. LSU is battling Texas A&M on former Nebraska edge rusher Jamari Butler. In strong position for corner Jakeem Jackson, who will arrive on campus tonight. and has a strong rapport with Corey Raymond, who recruited him to Florida.
It's got to be a weird feeling for I feel like the Kentucky's to almost feel like you're like a feeder within your own conference. That's got to be a weird feeling, man.
Yep.
And a few more tidying up here real quick.
Yep, keep tidying
up. The top
up.
tight end in the portal and number 6 player overall, former Purdue player Max Clare.
He's visiting too, isn't he?
He's also expected at LSU this week. And the Tigers are battling Auburn and Florida for defensive back Zachariah Poyser, who went to Jackson State that we talked about on Monday.
Well, there's another cornerback I think that just hit the portal who's like a 6'4" cornerback.
Well, that's Zachariah Poyser.
Is that him?
He's a safety, but he's the Corey Raymond prototype.
The 6'4" guy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's him. Okay. So he's a safety,
Yes.
not a cornerback. Okay. We need one of those too, though.
Where's he from?
Jackson State.
Jacksonville
State.
Jay'Viar.
Is that where Rich Rod was?
Yes.
Jacksonville State?
And now he is at.
No,
Well,
not yet.
not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe West.
You know who was
all
there,
these
though?
schools, all these
You know
schools
who
are
was there?
rehiring guys. It's great.
Oh, Perilou.
At Jacksonville State. True.
did.
Yeah.
I keep
did
my
go
eye on
there.
my guy.
That might have
Played
been
a lot of snaps
the
there.
beginning of the come up there.
When East St. John's.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
River Ridge.
I'm trying to see if the rest of the schedule, but they haven't put it out on Twitter yet.
But out of those guys, but the reason I brought this up is because there was a lot of conversation last year about you wanted to be last on the visit to be able to be the last one to offer and be able to make good. You're like, all right, you've seen every offer. You want to be able to call the flop, essentially. In this, do you not feel like you want to be first so that you don't even let them leave campus?
I'm about to say, I think it does it either way. Wherever you get them, you kind of don't want to let them leave. Like,
right.
Once I get you here, the plan is I want you to cancel after or not leave after. That's kind of what you want.
Let me ask you this, though, and I don't know the answer to this. If he comes in he's on campus today and he wants to come to LSU, he can sign tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
He can say, I'm committed, I'm signed. There's no like, hey, I have to commit and I have to sign a different day. You can sign there.
There probably is, though, with what happened with Bryce and the money that kind of came, I guess, free, if you will.
There's an end to the transfer portal
There's
date.
probably a little bit more of a –
yeah, right.
We're okay because there is some flexibility with getting you here first and not letting you go through all these other schools. If we can kind of figure that out, but obviously you don't want to just keep getting driven up and up and up when it comes to price and stuff like that.
And that's the second part of my question, because last year it wasn't like this.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. So like that might be
they want to take all their visits now.
Whether you're here first or whether you're here last. I would like for you to finish your visit with the commitment.
Yeah,
like that's pretty much the game of it. But being that the situation is what it is this year, you got to imagine there is flexibility. So if we get you here, we feel that you like it, you have an idea what it is, and we say we have to go up, maybe, possibly, depending on who you are and where things are. So like there's a little bit more flexibility this year, which allows you to probably play first as opposed to playing last. But yeah, if I get you here, it doesn't really matter. I'd like for a commit before you leave.
And I don't even want to commit. I want like pen to paper.
Yeah. Right. Sign.
Because I've heard a lot of commitment.
Actually, enroll now.
Yeah.
Let's let this thing dry here.
Yeah, no doubt. LSU's last 4 games at Alabama, home against Arkansas, home against Western Kentucky, at Oklahoma last game.
Not bad schedule, dude.
Back into the schedule is not as bad.
This year was brutal.
Front loaded, back loaded this year. Front loaded.
Which works in LSU's favor with the veteran quarterback returning.
Yes, it does. So yes, it does. And it's a good mix of like.
Don't let me get optimistic already.
It's a good mix of like good teams. And then we got some things to work on teams. And then
figure
it
out.
Bye week. And then, you got Western Kentucky, the second last week of the season before you got to go play.
When are the bye weeks?
Against Oklahoma?
Bye week before South Carolina,
October,
before Bama.
Yep, which is 2 good teams that have bye weeks before.
Before South Carolina, before
Alabama.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
And
South Carolina at home, too. So when South Carolina is on their high horse, like they're good, they know they're good now. This year they didn't know they were good yet. Next year they're going to know they're good.
1.5 to secure their freshman pass rusher.
Which we knew. Didn't we not say that? Boy, they're going to have to spend some money to keep him. We said that week 4. Yeah, he can have 2 bazookas now.
Is the other kid leaving? The other transfer?
I think he's
Or the transfer? The kid that came from Notre Dame, was it? The other end was a transfer.
Kennard, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's the young kid, isn't it?
I think Stewart's
Stewart's
the young
Stewart's the young kid. Kennard's the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, Kennard is
Probably
He
draft.
was
I think
in
he's getting-
transfer, but
I think
I
he's
don't
going
know
to
if he.
NFL.
Okay, so
I think he's going
he's
to
of age.
NFL.
Okay.
I think he's of age. I think.
Well, you better
Pretty
know
sure.
if they're of age.
I tell you what, right now, I know one of them's gonna be a problem if they both back next year. Good
Issue.
job.
Woo! Especially with LSU Med said. Well, the other announcement, maybe,
Hopefully, Emory Jones.
possibly,
Potentially you.
potentially you,
Investor,
Emory Jones.
maybe you. So like if people are reading into this video of Nuss, okay, everybody they showed on that video has the potential to come back or are going to be on the team next year.
Except for Jane Daniels.
What?
He played the guitar with him.
Oh, well, I mean, like that was on the team this year. That was on the team this year, right? And they, and look, you can read the tea leaves. The last video was the headbutt with him and Emory Jones, and they're like, oh, is this foreshadowing for him coming back? They showed all the other guys. They showed either have announced they are coming back, have the ability to come back, or didn't have to announce. They just know, like Kyle Parker was in there, those types of guys.
John Emery, Emory Jones.
Who knows?
That would be probably the biggest, aside from Nuss, that would be the biggest. Well, Perk would be John Emery.
And we haven't heard anything from Perk in that camp, huh?
Nope.
It's
Wild card.
It's loud when it's loud.
But that's
it's quiet
one
when
you
it's
can
quiet.
play as a wild card, though.
Right.
Like he can be, and I don't mean like anything. It doesn't mean anything bad towards him, but where you are in that room, where he is when it comes to his recovery and how he's going to go about his stuff, that is one that
He's putting out a doc about his
You can
recovery.
He's what?
Putting out a documentary about.
Is he really?
Yeah.
How do you know? Who's doing it?
I don't know. I saw it on Instagram.
Ah.
But that I don't know what to read into that, but it's also could be part of the announcement.
Yeah, maybe.
The feature.
I don't know.
film.
Listen, there's a lot to be optimistic about so far. 2 weeks ago, sky was falling. Bryce Underwood gone. Oh my God, look at all these guys not decommitting. Oh, we're losing all these guys in the portal. What's going to happen? We stink. We lost 3 games in a row.
Had to get your quarterback back.
Had to get your quarterback
that's
back.
the biggest
you
one.
want
I'll
him
be
back?
honest with you. I really don't.
Yeah.
Not won't say I don't care.
No, I'm with you.
I won't say I don't
I
care.
agree.
But if you were going to go into next year with an unexperienced and or brand new quarterback into this system,
Agree.
man, that's going to be tough. I'm just going to be straight up with you. It's tough.
Yep. You get him back, that's your ace. That was your ace in the hole. Now, all the coaches can be like, okay,
We have.
now we have the ability to recruit even harder because we know we have this guy. Look at what he did in year 1. Just give him a couple more weapons and see what he can do in year 2.
But I think you recruit just as hard as you did before. I just think everything
It's
you
easier.
say, it just holds more weight.
Yeah, right. It's easier.
Well,
Yeah,
and
that's what I mean.
the money that you would have had, like this is finally when you put money in the coffer thing can come to fruition because you don't have to spend it on a quarterback.
Speaking of, Brian Kelly did say, someone asked him, how did the announcement happen? Like, were you able to raise more funds? And he was basically, yep, it has.
A windfall from the
It has
grassroots.
been a windfall, the grassroots windfall, and we've gotten some big donors give in
What
some money.
announcement?
When he comes out in his press conference and say we need more money, basically.
Wait, what announcement happened?
No, when he announced, and that wasn't an announcement, it was his press conference.
Oh, okay.
And he basically said, this is after Bryce Underwood left, and he basically said, this is what this is where it is
Tax
right now. It's tax day. That's where it is. There's not about where they want to go, who they want to play for. It's about how much money can they get. And the reality of it is we have to be able to
Pony
give them
up.
more money and pony up. And that's
And
when
the
the
ponies
whole
have ponied up.
And that's when the whole grassroots thing happened. And it was like, hey, you buy in for $10 a month, 50,000 fans, $10 a month is $6 million, 10 million, whatever the deal is, or 12 million. He said that was good, and he said that the donors were good. So that's a good sign.
And he was like, shout out Jack Ballard for putting that out.
Yeah, that's a good sign. Shout out Mik'd Up.
Mic'd up.
We got some good ones for Mik'd Up. We got some good screenshots from
I
our
don't
followers
know.
too.
I'm about to say I don't know if anybody's put out more of a push than that little graphic did for the old grassroots.
We got
community.
some good screenshots, whether they're real or not, who knows? But we got some good ones.
I also put out a tweet.
You did. Good job.
Yeah,
You gotta do what you gotta do.
just
but
trying to help.
He did come out. Someone did ask him that, and he said that they have seen an uptick, which is good. How much? We don't know.
Well, that's the shocking part is that it took like you can call them the fan cast, the podcast, whatever you like. They're helping LSU.
Yeah, but
Like,
it's also
it's
it also
a
took,
PSA because of how disjointed it was from the LSU end because it's very it is confusing.
Well, I think this was the first time. It wasn't the first time, but I think it was the most public time that LSU actually lost a recruit strictly because of money. I think
2.
You knew it. 2 recruits.
3.
Like you knew it in the past, last couple of years. Oh, we didn't get this guy because transfer portal guy. We didn't have enough money to give these guys. Blah, blah. This one was such a public thing, and it was such a wide. It was so much money that I think it opened up.
That's where it is. It was people knew it was going on before. You just actually were not able to tie it to anything else except for this is money.
Yeah,
money only as to why you lost these guys.
And everything else was like a rumor. We heard he got
and you
this.
didn't know how much.
Yeah, we heard he got that.
Yeah.
This one is he got $12 million. It's been about as open as it can be. Yeah. Right? You're hearing from the guys who gave him $12 million that
or you go with the other guy who's been committed here forever as well, who just shut down his recruiting visit to go to that school, and then the very next week says, I think I'm gonna flip.
Yeah. Right.
How'd that happen?
You're right.
You didn't even go there last week.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you said I'm tied in. I'm 100% with LSU.
Okay, I see what's
gotcha.
Yeah.
He didn't visit for 2 years. 30 minutes away.
I'm not talking about that guy.
Got him.
I'm not talking about that guy.
You know about the other one?
I'm talking about the guy in Texas.
Yeah, Cade Phillips.
Yeah.
I'll shut it down.
Is that what you're talking about? Is that
No,
he was still talking about Bryce.
I was talking about Bryce.
Oh, no, he's
I'm
talking about
Cade Phillips, who had been committed here for a while, who shut down his recruitment and didn't go on the visit the week before, and then the very next week he's like,
never mind.
Yeah, I'm
Change my mind.
I think I'm going. So
both of them are they're the same situation, just
same
different
distance from home, pretty much.
Oh, when you put it that
Maybe
whenever you said that in the text, I was like, damn, you really can't use that excuse.
Can't
and
even
they
really
didn't.
use closer to home.
Yeah.
From there.
And that excuse did not come out. They did not
That's
say
what I'm saying.
They
They
didn't even try to.
Yeah.
Yeah, let one J. Mitch get on there. Like, actually, I know somebody from there that did actually commit to LSU.
Yeah.
And he said the drive was easy.
So
he's actually pretty good at LSU, too.
Pretty good.
Pretty good in the NFL, too.
LSU needs to worry about that wide receiver room now. I think C.J. Daniels is probably your biggest fish that you could land.
Yep. Or the other guys in the portal.
Well,
There's some other guys in the portal I think that may be better
Nick
than
Thomas would be huge.
Nick
Anderson, excuse me. Because that's the big body that we were talking about.
We don't have a big body.
He's 6'4".
Yeah.
And it's the kind of guy that, like we were talking about, a big guy on the outside.
It's Brian Thomas.
Yeah, that would be
But maybe not as fast. I don't know.
Not as fast.
I don't think he's as fast.
Well, yeah, he
Brian
ran
Thomas
24 miles an hour.
Yeah, he ran like 4.3.
And he still had some gas in the tank.
Yeah. So,
cruising too.
Cruising.
You don't have to be 4.3. Give you 6'4", running 4.45. I'm okay with that. 4.5. I'm good with that actually.
I'm okay if you're 6'4" and you're just a big body
and you just catch
box
the ball.
People out.
Just catch the ball.
I'm okay with that too because we don't necessarily have that one on the roster yet. So.
No,
Trey does.
Yeah,
but we want him to be a tight end too.
Yeah,
we want him to be able to do both.
That's why you got to sign one because I think the wide receiver move is the right move. He ain't blocking nobody.
I think it's not. I don't think he's a wide. I don't think he's a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think he's a tight end / wide. Like he's a.
You have
you're
to know
tight end. You're just gonna split him out.
He's a Y. Like he's a
legitimate.
Right. Yeah, like that's what he's gonna do. You can use him in the run game, but if you're asking him to put his finger in the dirt for 35 plays out of it's gonna be tough.
He's there. He is there for offensive purposes.
Jimmy Graham.
And he is there
even more so than Jimmy Graham was.
He's in there. Hey, you're gonna block a little bit, but we ain't gonna put you on the line. You're not gonna block Stewart at South Carolina. We're not gonna have you one-on-one with that guy.
I think it's probably better for him to not be one, like you said, having one-on-ones with DNs, having to go chip or having to go block the middle linebacker. Like, hey, look, we're gonna run these outside screens, or you can get on this nickel back, you can get on this corner.
Use your athleticism to go block.
Yeah, like those will be.
Put your athleticism on a guy that maybe somebody your size can't usually get to because they're not athletic enough. You are.
Get in the way.
And just block him.
Now, I'm not going to say he's never going to do that, but you're asking a losing battle if you want to ask him to do that.
No doubt. It's an adjustment. Without a doubt.
And that's where I have to give Pimpton credit. It was an adjustment for him, but he signed up. Like, he didn't sign up for that, and he still did it.
He has to.
Well, right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he was traded as, like, the version of Trade as Green that he probably saw himself
but he wasn't
as.
very good at it.
Well, you never got to see it.
Well, we've had some people that know football that have said his run blocking ability was not great.
No, I'm saying he wanted to be the Trade as Green role of like split me out wide and let me like utilize my 6'6" frame to be able to go up and get balls, and then Trade as Green like passed them up in a sense where they're like we're more invested in him, and that's why I don't blame him for hitting the portal. But when he was asked to be an inline blocker, he still did it. He could have quit 4 games in.
Yeah, but I mean,
a lot of people do it.
You're right. But I think he I mean, he was going to play it out. He had to get better at it no matter where he's at. If he's at LSU or whoever, he had to learn how to do that.
Oh, he's probably going to go to Ole Miss and catch 50 balls.
Maybe. We'll see.
Ball's got to go somewhere.
Deshaun Womack's supposed to go visit there, too.
If he goes to Ole Miss and catches 50, but Trey Dez catches 62, are you still mad?
Oh, I'm not mad at him at all. Like, I appreciate the decision. Like, I appreciate the effort he put in for LSU.
I just remember I talked to one of the staff early in the year and said, hey, we have 3 that are legit. So I won't be surprised at all if he goes somewhere else and balls. I'm not sure that was going to work on with what you have now, especially now that Mason's gone. With what you have now, I'm not sure that that's going to work with those 2 as the 2 featured tight ends.
That's why you're on 4 tight ends right now in the portal.
Yeah.
Right.
Need a little meat. Need some more cakes.
Mm-hmm. J.D. LaFleur.
Yeah. But I think LSU's in a good position. I think Nuss puts them in a better position.
Do you have to go at 7?
Yes.
Okay, so do you want me to save these Ask Mikey and Mitch's?
Yes. For Friday.
Yeah.
We have any?
We have a ton.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, but we have 8 minutes.
I know,
7.
let's save it for Friday.
They're going to be mad.
I know.
At me.
I promise you we're going to get to all these questions on Friday. I promise. We're going to have a show on Friday. I'm not canceling the show on Friday. We'll have the show on Friday. And honestly, it'll be good because we don't really have a ton to preview on Friday. We're going to gamble a little bit, but it's not as many games. Gambling is getting harder for the college football world.
And dude, if you're just
Our
going to
parlay this week is going to be tough.
Is it?
I mean, we don't got a lot of games. And
Army, Navy.
Maybe it's going to be easy.
Army, Navy. Our 2 favorite teams.
We got a 3-game parlay of the one game.
We're gonna take the over, first half over,
We're
second half
We're
under.
gonna have to try to go do the NFL.
I did dabble in the NFL.
How'd you do?
Great.
Good for you.
Burrow, Chase, 2 touchdowns.
I think that's the easy one to just.
But
That's all I was
he
gonna
went
say.
props.
Yeah.
You ain't try to mess with them lines.
Well, I am, but
He did that. You gonna do it with plus money?
it's a
that's
weekend.
All right, let's get to Mistake of the Day, brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place.
Okay, mistake. This might be a twofer. Because the mistake of the day could be brought to you by Dozy Place. Is it the Joe Burrow getting robbed during?
Well, I don't know if that's a mistake of the day.
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Because they didn't actually rob him. Did they
no.
rob him? No, they did rob him.
That's not the point.
Right.
It's that he had a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, Olivia Ponton, called her mother to call the police while she was employed by Joe Burrow.
Yeah, what does that mean?
That's what I'm wondering, is if this... Obviously, he was dating a former Olivia as well, and there was rumors of an engagement. And now the mistake of the day would be if he's still kind of with her and this came out, there's a lot of questions he had to answer the next day.
I don't think he's with her.
I don't think so either, but
she held on tight.
And yes, and she's a date. Hey, she's a dime. Like
his ex-girlfriend?
Yeah, like and
from college?
Yeah. Like kind of feel bad for her. Like
It's
good
tough.
looking and stuck it out and started her own business, like did all of the right things.
And maybe they are together. Maybe they'll get back together. Maybe
well,
they just
not
take a
if this
break.
comes out
Right.
where you have a Sports Illustrated swimsuit
Very
model.
optimistic of you, right there.
Yeah, like in a tight spot, coach.
I've seen worse. Make it through.
Oh my goodness.
I've seen worse make it through.
Oh my goodness.
But so she was employed by Joe Burrow.
Am I wrong?
And was no, you're not. Hey, if you could talk and walk it, the model who has 8 million TikTok followers told authorities
Nice.
over the phone, it's like completely messed up. Can we please send more people? But this was after she called her mother to call the police, but she didn't know what was going on. There was a window broken, and she still wasn't sure what was happening. So I'm not sure of her. I don't know if that's who you want house sitting for you. But if this turns into I'm still.
So you think Joe Burrow just Airbnb his house out? Is that what happened? You think he wasn't there?
That would also be a mistake of the day because there's been a litany of robberies from NFL players that
Yeah,
are
but
playing
he was
prime
flying
time
back the
away.
night after the game. That night up.
Well,
so
yeah.
maybe-
What do you think they're going to attack when he's
No,
there?
no,
when he's
I'm
flying?
not saying that. I'm saying for the girl that was staying there. That was house watching, house sitting.
Right, and that's where you have to get into a situation of is this like
Does Joey B have a dog?
She's not Joan.
Does he have a
Wick.
dog?
Yes.
So maybe she was house sitting.
She
'cause
was
she's the
dog
So it
watching.
was dog watching. That's what she was doing. She was watching Joe's pet dog.
Yeah, he's
He
about
needed
to
to
get
go out and take him
man.
out. Yeah. That's what she was doing.
And so she was out on the walk,
With the dog, probably.
and then they broke the window while she was gone.
Yeah.
They saw her leave.
yeah.
It's not her fault either.
Yeah. Good job.
She was
by
doing
them.
her job.
Good job by them. So
Totally
so is this the
platonic
mistake of the day? What's the
relationship.
mistake of the day?
It's the mistake of the day if this is what's going to out him as somebody that's deeply private, and if he was still kind of dabbling in both, and if it gets broken by, which I would think would be the reason this story got leaked, is from her PR team to make sure that they knew that they went. This is how girls operate, right? Like, she wants them to know that she's with Joe. What's the perfect opportunity? Maybe you hire a robber to come break in or break some glass or get your friend to do it, and then we have a story to leak, and now she's going to be on the outs.
Oh,
And now Joe might be the mistake of the day because he ends up, you go for 2, sometimes you get 0.
They should have never gave Lloyd this this bit of ammo. They should have never gave it to him.
No. Okay. That's a good one. Curtain call brought to you by our friends at Perkins McKenzie.
Oh man.
I think this plays right into your curtain call, so I'd like you to go first.
Okay, my curtain call. So staying on the break-ins, right? This is an epidemic going around the NFL right now. So these guys, because I think they've proven, or I don't know if they've proven, but they are assuming it's just the same group of people that are traveling around and breaking into these athletes' homes.
Same people that are fighting former hockey players.
Yeah, that was a bad thing too. But they are traveling when they know these guys are out of town to break into their house and steal all of their stuff. Tua Tagovailoa
Nailed it.
wanted to make sure that they understood where he stood on this matter. He came out in his press conference. I guess he was asked a question about it, and he let it be known to these thieves, that beware if you're trying to break into his house, because he's ready. He's packing. He's not packing, but he's got people that are packing. He's hired armed guards to sit out and stake his house on the road. So he's just giving a fair warning. You ready for that smoke?
I have personal security just because my house had gotten broken into, not necessarily my house, but one of my cars. And so it's a little too close for my comfort with my family being in the house. So we got personal security to take care of all of that when we're on the road. We got someone with my wife, got someone also
Here's
at the
my
house.
question.
Surveying the house.
Do you think he's hired
just to let that be known, they are armed. So I hope
off-duty
if
cops,
you
or
decide
do
to
you
go
think
to
he
my
hires
house,
special like those
think
like
twice.
crazy badass ex-military guys to say, hey, I need you to go out there and like.
I don't know, but Coach, he's in Miami. There's a lot.
No doubt.
There's a lot available on the
You
market
seen
for
Bad
whatever he
Boys?
needs to do.
No doubt.
He's got Will Smith on the case.
No, you like. You
And
think
Martin
it's, you think it's like off-duty cops? Like, hey, I'm gonna pay this.
Nice fucking fish. Big fucking eyes.
There's a lot on the market.
There's
And
a lot
he's got
out there.
he's got the whole Polynesian army behind him.
A lot out there.
Like
The
would
Rock's
you-
out there. The Rock's protecting the house.
They're just doing the haka right in front. Like I ain't
The
going
Rock
in
was
there.
actually in Scottsdale fighting with some random people. Y'all did not see that story? It wasn't The Rock, though.
Oh.
It was an ex-hockey player that was fighting at Houston's.
Oh, Bisonet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the Biz.
yeah, that was my
But the
called,
people that he was fighting against said he looked some big rock-looking motherfucker.
Oh, that's what they said?
But he obviously doesn't look like The Rock at all.
Yeah. That was a wild story, too.
Yeah.
All right, you got one?
I do not. No,
Okay.
I do not.
Okay. You got one, Lloyd?
Mine is actually to Paul Bisonet, as the security footage was released
Dude, the security footage is wild.
Wow.
of him, but they didn't catch the one thing. He's like, they didn't catch my knockout. So
I know, I wanted to see
yeah,
it.
I know, because it looks like he gets dog walked a little bit here.
But, dude, he's
people-
got 6 guys
That's what I was
on-
about. Like, I am not on the team of.
Oh, he
Like,
got his ass kicked, yeah.
yeah, it's like it's 1v6, cuz.
And he put himself right in the middle
In
of
the
it, and
middle.
he ate everything.
Yeah, and then he went live the next day.
Yeah.
And so Biz is a fucking trooper for getting into it and walking away pretty much unscathed. He's like, I boot fucked one kid, so don't even worry about it. Like, took some, threw more. Like, the video was unbelievable of him.
He said they didn't see me drop the guy about a dumpster.
Yeah, that's all he was mad about. He's
Yeah.
like, they just didn't get my knockout.
True hockey guy.
Yeah.
True hockey enforcer.
But this is
right
a
there.
true hockey
But
guy.
that's literally what he did as a profession.
Yeah.
On skates, though.
on
ice.
skates. And then
On
like,
blades on ice.
not only like has this been like a phenomenal fight for him, but it's exposed an entire traveling army of people that are like they didn't
scamming people.
Yeah, they didn't go to court because the lawyer threatened that they had to do it. He had to do it over Zoom because his client has been getting death threats, and it's like this is how they escape. And so they're on the flee, they're on the run as they were much first biz.
It's wild.
Yeah, we could talk through this, but there's no sound. But like to square up versus 6 people is fucking
Well, look,
insane.
smart, but he obviously has been in some fights before. He knew that I gotta keep backpedaling. I gotta get in a position where I'm not surrounded, and my only chance is to be able to knock him out
one by one.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
got
like
a
movie
Paul,
style.
Paul Wickett.
I mean, these boys are literally chasing this man.
Look how many of them there are. Like, what a hero.
Now, hindsight's 2020. I'm not in the moment. I've never been. I'm by no means like a.
Well, yeah, you are. Remember, you knocked that kid out.
But
This is also the
Look at
hero of the video.
That's so Scottsdale. For anybody who's never been to Scottsdale, this is Scottsdale for you right here.
but like that first guy chasing him, like this guy can get there quick enough and like fucking kick him right in the knee and just drop him, and that's one guy down. Then you gotta go and you gotta figure out how am I gonna get the other guys down.
Because he's going to get back up.
Yeah, he's gonna get back out unless you break his leg. Unless you kick it hard enough before you break his leg.
They tried to withhold the footage for a while. They didn't get all of it. But I still think it's awesome that like everything you said is pretty much true.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like they just missed the one knockout, but you saw the picture of the guy that
Wild.
got knocked out, and he clocked him.
Wild.
Hopefully this comes to a
Yeah, hopefully they get some justice.
yeah.
I wish they let him fight every one of them one by one.
That's what he wants to do. He wants to do rough and rowdy 1v1.
He said he'll take no settlement to fight them all on camera one by one.
I would. You know what? I've never watched a Rough and Rowdy. I'd watch it.
Oh yeah,
I would watch that. To watch him beat the shit out of those 6 motherfuckers.
one at a time. Like I'll fight
Dude.
6 people 1v1 is
Yeah.
insane,
I would love that.
and he would clean them up.
Oh yeah. I think he
Yeah.
would knock him out. I think within a
You
minute.
could do one round
Yeah, within a minute.
in 6 people, kind of like that girl, but it was 100
Well,
people.
that's okay.
See,
We almost got through it. Okay. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. I'm sorry that I have to get out here early. I promise y'all we'll answer all the
It's for a
questions.
good cause.
Can you make sure we have all the questions saved?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get to them all on Friday. I promise we'll be back live in studio on Friday from 1 to 2-ish. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can't watch us, but you like listening to us. We're anywhere you get your pods. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. We will see you on Friday. Peace.